Hey there! I just finished the 3.0 main mission and here are my thoughts. I hope you can think of this as just me having a casual conversation, so I apologize if what I'm saying isn't well organized. This is just my initial impression, so my opinion can change after the honeymoon phase is over. Anyways, let's talk about the 3.0 story mission. The strongest aspect of 3.0 story, in my opinion, are the characters. I will try not to use Penacony as comparison too much, but try to recall what roles Sunday and Robin played in 2.0. Those two are prominent characters in Penacony, but I think they have 5 minutes of screen time in 2.0. We didn't get to learn much about them until later on parts of the story in 2.2 and onwards. What I'm trying to get at is that the heroes in Amphoreus are introduced and had enough screen time to at least make me intrigued about them. They each had a little bit of time to develop some chemistry with the main cast, and as well as demonstrating some existing dynamic between each of them. My personal favorite has to be Aglaea, and not because she's pretty. Everyone in this game is an eye candy one way or another. What I like about her is her character building. All of her actions so far have been in line with her personality. The interrogation scene is perfectly reasonable in her perspective. Look, I'm not trying to be her lawyer here, but let me explain a little bit. She is one of the 2 remaining active demigods in the city. To make matters slightly worse, the triplets seem to be weakened for unknown reasons, making Aglaea the only active combative demigod who isn't MIA. Unless I've been sleeping, I don't think they have explained why the other demigods are missing. That's probably for, later when they're trying to sell other characters. Behind her is a group of boomers vying for power, while she's literally trying to protect the last remaining city of her planet. If we were in her place, would we trust 2 unknown aliens who appeared randomly? She has shown the ability to trust her fellow heroes and even rely on them. But come on now, she's not going to unconditionally trust 2 random strangers. At least not until the other heroes vouch for us. That brings me to this guy. Let's talk about our Kirito, the chosen one, the golden boy. His name, Mr. Protagonist. That's what I'm going to call him for the entirety of this video. He has this chosen one aura around him. Aglaea mentioned that all the heroes have some kind of defect that comes with their blessing. All of them have it, except for, you guessed it, Mr. Protagonist, who apparently is perfect without any flaw. That is the biggest sign of, look at me, I'm the chosen one, that I have ever seen. He is either going to be some kind of child of prophecy that will save Amphoreus with all that potential that he's oozing, or he could be the biggest letdown since Yang Ching and Gohan. Really curious about how he's going to turn out. He has a lot of room to grow as a character. With that said, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up failing the test from Strive. All heroes in epics and fairy tales need some sort of setback to build up their determination. Plus, I think Mydei, my goat, who, in my opinion, deserve the Strive core flame much more. Speaking of which, Mydei and Mr. Protagonist have this friendly rivalry vibe around them from the very beginning. They may throw jabs at each other, and when push comes to shove, they are basically best buddies. It is the textbook Goku and Vegeta template, and I am a complete sucker for that type of dynamic. When Mydei offered to stay back to hold off the Strive Titan, the first suggestion from Mr. Protagonist was to stay back and help. And the first chance he gets, he actually goes back to help Mydei. As a prince who was labeled as a traitor by his home nation, that in itself is enough to get my attention. I'm basic like that. Moving on, if I focus only on the plot and characters, then 3.0 Amphoreus did exactly what it needed to do. It put us into an unfamiliar world with its own rich history and ongoing stories and conflicts. We are not the main character in this fairy tale. In my opinion, 3.0 has done its job. It sets up the stage for the future story missions to expand on. Like, what exactly is the Black Tide? How are the 3 paths connected to Amphoreus? And my personal favorite, why does the prophecy of gathering the 12 core flames ring every sus alarm I have? My collective experience of playing Among Us is screaming at me that this prophecy is not what it seems. And I'm curious to find out, is it just a fake out? My one nitpick so far is that, for the most part, the story was cliche. Well, maybe not cliche, more like predictable. As I was playing, in the back of my head, I was pretty much able to guess what would happen next. The one true surprise I had was the snippets of the Trailblazers past with the Celeron Hunters. I will never forgive Hoyo for making me choose between saying goodbye to Firefly and saying goodbye to Kafka. Why do we have to choose? Why can't we have both? Do I need to spit out some stellar J's to unlock both dialogues? While we're on the subject, the power-up this time didn't feel earned. Let's rewind a little bit, right? We had to fight the final boss in Cocolia to get preservation. We had to sit through the entire backstory recap of the Watchmaker to get Harmony. The Remembrance Path kinda just landed in our laps without the Trailblazer doing much. They kinda just stood there and looked pretty. I'm not advocating for every new story needing someone to get stabbed with some crazy plot twist. However, getting the Remembrance Path this time just didn't feel as impactful as the other paths prior. I don't really have much to say about the actual gameplay. The minions started to get annoying to all the battle throughs, so I kinda just switched to Acheron and blitzed through all the maps. The puzzles were okay. I didn't have the urge to rip my hair out, so that's a win. Overall, the story and characters is an amazing start. Intriguing characters, a rich backstory, fun existing group dynamics, and just enough of a mystery to keep me curious. Now, let me just quickly talk about the idle animation and the black screen transition, since that seems to be the topic of the week. Personally, the lackluster idle animation doesn't really bother me that much, but I can't help but compare the camera works with other gacha games, such as Gathering Wives and ZZZ. So it's completely understandable if some players feel that the nonchalant idle animations are breaking their immersions. I just might have a high tolerance because I used to play Persona games. Those games have forged me an unbreakable mental resilience when it comes to yapping with little to no animations. Persona games are like the Dark Souls of yapping. Star Rail in comparison is like the Kids League. However, I completely get it. There are only so many times we can watch someone put their hand on their chest while talking before getting bored of it. The simplest and quickest solution that I can think of on the top of my head is for Hoyo to add more CG pictures, like these. They probably don't cost that much money to commission, and it's much easier on the eyeballs. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to share my initial reaction to 3.0. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye.